Sure shot, baby!
Good day, everyone. We're here for another episode of the DVD show. So, for today, we have one of the most renowned play-by-play anchors here in the Philippines, and he used to work for ABS-CBN Sports, covering basketball, volleyball, even baseball, I think.
Yep.
So, we now welcome here to the DVD show, Anton Roxas. Thank you for joining me here in my podcast.
Hey, Diego, thank you so much for that really generous and friendly intro. You know, if you didn't say you were Lasallian, I would have ignored your DM. Pero tama yung ginawa mo, sinabi mong DLSU ka, and as
Mm.
Lasallians, we gotta help each other out. And I'm super proud of what you're doing. I checked your channel, and dami mo mga guests, and these are like big name guests. So I mean,
Yeah.
for somebody who's still in school, still in LaSalle, one more year to go to be doing something like this that's
Mm.
self-produced, dude, props to you, man. Good job.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I've been watching a lot of podcasts during the pandemic, especially the ones from abroad, like sila JJ Redick. Those are like the
Love
people I
that
look up to.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I started my own, like yung mga no dunks also. So some of those podcasts in the US, and then here locally, like yours, Volleyball DNA. So I like learning from other podcasts as well. That's why I just decided to start on my own and see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you're starting young because, di ba,
Mhm.
nung nag-pandemic, wala tayong magawa. We were just at home. So like a lot of my colleagues, they started their own thing. They started their own
Mm.
self-produced podcast. So like, syempre ako, I wanted to do my own thing then. And at the time, there was no volleyball podcast. There was no volleyball YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
I decided to create one with my friend, si Denden Lazaro Revilla. And
Mm.
we've been doing it for a little bit over a year na, siguro a year and a half. So yeah, man. I mean, again, props to you for being somebody who, is still a student. Tapos sinasabayan mo kaming mga in the industry. So
Yeah.
good job, man. It's and to get those guests, pare,
Mm.
ang hirap nun. Ang hirap nun
Yeah.
to just to land guests, and your
Yeah.
guests are big time. So props to you
Yeah.
again, man.
Thank you so much. I mean, I just keep messaging them. Like I, if they don't reply in like a few
Oh,
months, I follow up
shoot
again. Yeah,
shoot your shot lang. What are you gonna
yeah,
what do you have to lose, diba?
yeah. Sometimes nga yung mga iba sabi nila hindi daw talaga nila napansin nung mga few months back. Pero now, since mas free sila sa schedule, na-check nila yung Instagram DMs nila or Facebook. So they were willing to come on the podcast. So that's great to hear from them actually. Pero yun nga, you have a volleyball DNA podcast. That's why it came into my mind to invite you to preview the upcoming PVL conference. And
Oh my god.
it's a very different format now, and a lot of the teams also changed a majority of their lineup. Like I was researching the lineups before this episode, and yung iba nga nakakalimutan ko na lumipat na pala sila ng teams dahil sa dami. Like I couldn't keep track.
Ako rin. That's why I prepared for your episode, bro. Kasi, di
Wow,
ba?
okay. Ang dami
Ang
pala diyan.
ang
I
dami
didn't have that
pare.
many.
Dude,
Oo.
there's so many players and it's impossible to just like sit down and remember. Baka mali pa yung masabi ko. So, sinulat
Oo.
ko na lang para sigurado tayo. So, guys, sa lahat
Mm.
ng mga nanonood ng the DVD show, if you guys have your own predictions, you have your own comments, you react to what me and Diego are going to be discussing, please
Mm.
put them down in the comment section below. But be kind, ha? Kasi, alam mo naman mga volleyball fans, very
Mm.
emotional yan and
Yeah.
engaging. So, guys, hinay-hinay lang tayo kasi normally, I'm the one asking the questions, but tonight, it's gonna be Diego
Mm.
asking me the questions. So, patay tayo.
Oo. Hindi naman challenging, hindi naman sobrang challenging yung questions, and ginawa mo rin naman last time with I think Coach Santi and si Joey
Oh, yeah.
Villar, I think yung last
Yes,
time, and I
yes.
was able to tune into that. I also got that idea. But then to start things off, what were your initial thoughts on the bracket, like the groupings? Kasi syempre yung mga fans parang, oh, bakit ganyan? I mean, dati kailangan kakalabanan mo lahat ng teams, you won't get to avoid anyone. Ito kasi parang, FIFA World Cup or sa FIBA, yung minsan sabihin nila, swerte ka lang kasi you didn't get to face this strong country. They got upset by another country. and then now you won the championship, but there's an asterisk and all these storylines, narratives. But then for you, what was your initial reaction when you learned that was the format that did go, since less games nga yata daw with this?
Well, I didn't get to talk to Sir Ricky Palou about this, so I don't know what the real reason is. But like, just from my experience and with the way things are nowadays, we're still trying to get back on our feet with regards to sports. That's why some leagues aren't going full on like double round robin. For example, the NCAA that's happening at the end of this month is just going to be a
Mm,
single round robin because
yeah.
they want to see first if they can actually mount a league, as in from start to finish with no hiccups. So
Mm-hmm.
yung PVL was able to do it last year, pero ang layo,
Oh,
'di ba, sa
yeah.
Bacara, Ilocos Norte, and
Yeah.
that costs a lot of money, it costs a lot of time because you have to house all the players there. Now it's gonna be in Paco, but syempre, you want to see if it's gonna run smoothly. That's why I feel like they decided to go with a shortened tournament muna rather than a full on.
Mm-hmm.
Pag nagawa nila ito successfully with no hiccups, I'm expecting the next conference to be a longer one. Baka, I don't know, double round robin. Single round robin is
Sana.
okay para at least sure ball na yung mga teams na gusto natin makita lumaban, maglalaban
Mm-mm.
na. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's the real reason, but that was my
Yeah.
reaction. Like, okay, maybe they did this because they want a shortened season and to make sure na matapos muna. And then sa next, doon na sila maghahapit.
I think I agree naman with your sentiments kasi nga mahirap talaga ngayon, like they're trying na hindi na mag full bubble or medyo like closed circuit yata yung term na tama, like uwi ka lang sa bahay and then you will play in the arena. But then I'm not sure if syempre they won't be able to track the movement of all the players. But then I think it's a great start. I mean, everyone's just trying to find a way to restart the leagues. And I think that's a great way to start it. So, but then with that format, syempre yung mga fans, may mga sarili silang reactions na bakit yung team A, sa group A, yung group B, ganito, and it's 5-4, hindi pa even yung numbers. So, how would you explain to the fans naman? Kasi yung iba sabi parang, yung Creamline, yung ang lakas lang nung group nila. Ay, sorry, mahina yung group nila. So, for sure, first seed sila. Tapos, Choco, Mucho, Chery Tiggo, F2, lahat magkakagulo dun sa kabila. So, how would you say to the fans naman na dapat di sila masyado mag-worry doon na it's still a competitive field?
Well, there is no explanation that will satisfy or appease the volleyball fan that just can't wait to watch volleyball again. I mean, to me, volleyball fans here in the Philippines are more passionate and engaging as compared to basketball, at least from my experience. Like when I cover
Mm-hmm.
the UAAP, I get more engagement online when I cover volleyball as
Yeah.
compared to when I cover basketball. So I don't know exactly how to explain to them, but to share my thoughts in case they ask. And what I explained earlier, yung feeling ko dapat shorten muna bago magkaroon ng full on season na sure ball na maghaharap sa elimination round. Kasi I know what you're going with. And the fans surely want to see this, yung F2 and Creamline, but then they're in different groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a wait before these
Mm-hmm.
two teams clash. So I mean, syempre, I'm sure there was a lot of reaction about that. Ay, okay, kailan sila maglalaban? But
Mm-hmm.
that's how it is. When you come up with a tournament, you have to build excitement. And I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know also how these groups were grouped. Why Creamline ended up in Pool B? Why
Yeah.
F2 ended up in Pool A?
Same.
I
Yeah. I
don't
don't
know
know.
if it
Yeah.
was like draw lots or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I think okay na rin yun nangyari para at least may konting build up for when we get to the postseason.
Yeah, for sure. Yung final four games talaga exciting, eh. Like last time yung Chery Tiggo Creamline finals, and daming nanood, eh. So I
Grabe.
think that game, the viewership was really rose, and compared siguro to the elimination round game nila or yung mga final four games, iba yung pag-akyat ng viewership. So malay mo maglaban pa rin yung Creamline and F2 kung sila talaga yung meant to be, and
Oh, they
they could
have to.
argue that they have
Mm.
a lot of fans talaga that are really waiting for it. Like the Aragalang Eliza Valdez matchup. college pa last time yata. Eliza shares it on her interviews that she hasn't played against Ara for so long. But how about pala the teams that aren't there? Like I think Santa Lucia and there was one more team that Perlas, I think.
Perlas, yeah.
Perlas, yeah. Didn't uh join for this conference. So do you think that it would affect the parity or the competition for this conference? And this, of course, they can still come back naman for the next ones.
I don't think so because I think a lot of the key players from those teams that you just mentioned, Santa Lucia and Perlas, are
Mm-mm.
are on the rosters of some of the teams of the participating teams here.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we're going to be talking about those movements in a bit. But grabe, sobrang overwhelming and daming player movement. May mga pickups na nakakagulat na hindi mo na-expect. Like yung kay Ziher Vasho na
Mm-hmm.
hindi
I
naman
got
naglaro for
yeah.
Perlas in the previous bubble conference. But then is now with F2, di ba? With all those Lasalians. So nakagulat talaga. I don't think it's gonna affect naman the excitement.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to see naman eh. Gusto natin makita ng exciting matches, and I don't think with the absence of Santa Lucia and Perlas, we're gonna get a shortage of excitement because the players were able to find new teams naman, and that's what's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. In talking about the excitement of this conference, you for sure the fans would allude to it that Chery Tiggo, as the defending champions, they added the Laure sisters. I mean, they were supposed to play ata din last year, but there were complications and possibly they wanted to play pa sana siguro in UST one last time, pero hindi natuloy. And now they're gonna suit up for Chery Tiggo. And I think today lang din Santiago Manabat and Mylene Pat are wrapped up their stint in Thailand and they're gonna come home and try to defend the crown. So
Well,
what's your
for real,
outlook on
I did
Chery
not know
Tiggo?
that.
Yeah, I
I
read
did,
the
I did,
article kanina. They won
oh,
bronze, I think. Their team won bronze.
ang
So
ang nabasa ko yung best scorer si Mylene.
yeah, I saw
So
that also.
grabe. I mean, for somebody to become the best scorer and somebody like Mylene who wasn't really known as like somebody who scores in bunches, and she was actually, in my opinion lang,
Mm-mm.
um, did not really perform like or put up her usual numbers in the PVL bubble. So for her
Yeah.
to emerge in Thailand, grabe, that's crazy news, and even crazier now that you're telling me that Din Din and Mylene are gonna play this conference. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's gonna that's gonna change everything.
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
I saw it.
wala pa rin si
Tiebreaker.
Jaja, but like if
Yeah,
Din Din
wala.
and Mylene play, ooh,
Mm-mm.
Chery Tiggo is still going to be one of the candidates for champions for this conference.
Yeah. What do you think is their main strength though as the defending champion, even without Jaja? Like what's gonna make the teams have a tough time to game plan or scout against them?
Okay, well, now that you've mentioned it, this is kind of a curveball because I did not hear that news na babalik si Dindin and Mylene. I think it's the experience. Iba kasi yung naglaro ka in a different country, kondisyon ka, tas babalik ka sa Pilipinas, you're going to play against your fellow countrymen
Mm-hmm.
fresh off that stint in Thailand. So it's like having two imports suddenly join your team. And in Chery Tiggo, you have Jasmine Abor, Buding Duremdes, who are top five in my opinion, in their respective positions, setter and libero. Micah Ortiz for sure is much better than she was in the previous bubble, because in the previous bubble there were questions as to whether she was going to play because she was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Pero we saw like a throwback performance in several games from Micah Ortiz. And then
Yeah.
Shaya Adorador was improving. Rachel Ostero had her moments in the finals. EJ Laura is gonna join, make her pro debut. Coach Aaron Velez, proved a
Mm-hmm.
lot of doubters wrong in the PVL bubble last year. So surely he has a lot more confidence. So I think Chery Tiggo just changed the entire script. Kasi coming into this interview with you, I was thinking honestly, it would be Choco, Mucho, and F2 gonna
Yeah.
be the top two in Pool A.
Mm.
But now I'm not sure with Chery Tiggo having Dindin and Mylene. If that's the
Yeah.
case, kung talaga maglalaro sila,
Yeah.
man, it's tough to choose among the three.
Yeah. I searched it lang now just to make sure. And yeah, they're gonna arrive na daw before the tournament, both of them
Oh,
from
that
Thailand.
is
So yeah, they're gonna
crazy.
play
That
and
is
they're both fantastic spikers that's gonna change the landscape of the whole group. And that group's very talented. So much a challenge nila lalo na iakit yung laro nila against Chery Tiggo. Kasi if Jaja was there pa nga, talagang heavy favorites na siguro sila.
Ito
Lalo
sabihin
na
ko
yung
sa'yo.
improvement. Yeah,
Ito
sige.
sabihin ko sa'yo, Diego, ah. Even without Jaja, this
Mm.
team is championship caliber.
Yeah, I
Even
agree.
without
Yeah.
Jaja. Oh, guys, mag-comment kayo kung if you agree with this. To me,
Mm.
kahit wala si Jaja, you basta maglalaro si Dindin at si Mylene, this team is
Mm.
championship caliber.
Yeah. I agree. Tas si Aya, 'di ba? Pwede naman siya yung open spiker nila. And EJ, I mean, her production's
Wait,
not the same from.
I don't think Aya can play though kasi may UAP siya eh, 'di ba? Si Aya.
Okay. They're not gonna play ba
Yeah.
in
No,
Cherry Tigo?
si Aya can't play but si EJ is gonna play na. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I
Kasi
thought Aya was gonna play din eh.
Aya still gonna play for UST in the UAP. So hindi pa pwede.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pero si EJ can play the open spiker with, I think Shaya was the one who played last
Yeah.
time. And then their middle, I guess, could be who's their middle again? They have put din utility kasi
The,
Jasmine's their
the
setter. Then
Micah and Joy and Rachel are their middles.
yeah, Maika, yeah.
Yeah,
Maika.
if
She was
if
yeah,
if Judge's not playing it, it will be those three.
yeah, then
Yeah.
Maika, yun nga yung sinabi mong galing kasi she knows when to step up and elevate
Yeah.
her game. Yung mga critical games doon siya nagpapakita and nakita mo yung veteran presence niya. And, it
Mm.
really pumps up the team. And si Buding Dorendes din, di ba? Like, in-interview niyo yata siya sa Volleyball DNA
Galing.
after nung
Oh,
finals. Iba
laugh
yung,
trip din yun.
yeah, yeah.
Laugh trip
Iba
din yun
yung
si
laro niya
Buding.
ngayon. Ever since college, di ba? Ang laki nung binago. And
Yeah,
she improved.
even Jasmine and Buding, talagang umangat yung mga laro nila in the PVL bubble.
Mhm.
So, ako, masasabi ko talaga, itong Chery Tiggo, championship caliber kahit wala si Jaja.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
about Coach Aaron Velez? I mean, I'm not sure where his upbringing came from or his volleyball expertise. But then, yeah, you said nga he had a ton of doubters. Siguro lumabas yun nung natalo sila sa Valley Pure earlier in the previous conference. Pero what could you say makes him stand out as one of, like, he could match up with Coach O, with Coach Tai, or even Coach Ramil? What makes him great?
Okay, well, I first met Coach Aaron when he was with NU under Coach Babes Castillo. He was part of the coaching staff. And
Mm-hmm.
his expertise talaga was strength and conditioning. So, I believe this was his first high-profile job, yung maging head coach ng Chery Tiggo. And that's why I think tinitira siya online ng mga bashers because, syempre, he's not a big name as compared to the Coach Tais, the Coach Rogers of the world, diba? So, he had to prove himself. But now that he's proven himself, it only goes up from here. If he continues, the question is, can he sustain this type of performance? But with the players and the weapons he has at his disposal, I'm confident that he can. And he could lead the next generation of coaches kasi bata pa si Coach Aaron eh.
Bata pa nga, yeah.
Yeah, so I think his youth, his experience, and iba yung ma-steer mo ang isang
Mm.
koponan. You navigated through the rough waters, all the hate, all the bashing, all the drama, the injuries, the bubble situation. You go up against
Mm.
Creamline and you beat them in 3 games.
Yeah.
My God, iba yung
Impressive.
experience na makukuha mo doon. So, I only expect Coach Aaron to improve as a coach based on what we saw previously.
Yeah. That's really great. I mean, he has he has the weapons and the players to utilize in order to compete with the best. But then with that Jaja not suiting up, I think I haven't read anything that she might even come back kasi parang ongoing pa yata yung season sa Japan. Paano nila ma-mitigate yung weakness na not having her? Like, may mga players ba, like, meron silang inad na si Karandang yata and Doromal ata, they added them. Would they
Yeah,
help without Jaja, or does someone else need to elevate their game like Shaya, Dorador, or EJ? What's your
I,
thoughts on that?
I think they're pretty set. I mean, for me nga, medyo loaded pa rin to eh. I mean, yeah, they got EJ, they got May, Luna, they got
Oh yeah,
Roma Doromal. But dude, the arrival of Dindin and Mylene, like
that's
I said
enough
earlier,
scoring.
parang ano eh, parang biglang nagkaroon ka ng dalawang import eh. Well, actually,
Okay.
import talaga sila.
Yeah.
So, grabe. I mean, from being behind Choco
Mm.
Mucho and F2, okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say they're number one now
Mm-hmm.
in Pool A, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
I
kill
don't
me,
know if I
guys.
agree. I mean, I'm
Don't
still
don't
thinking
don't
about it.
don't kill me, guys. But like this is based on Dindin and Mylene's performance in Thailand, ha.
Yeah, best score.
Grabe, grabe.
170 plus points si Mylene. I searched it now.
'Di ba?
Believer.
So
Okay, yeah.
kondisyon niya mga yan. They're still in game mode. So
Mm.
they're gonna hit the ground running as soon as they get back here.
Mm.
So for me, sige, I'm gonna go out on a limb and put them at number one. I mean, they are the defending champions. So you want to get the crown, you got to go through them.
Iba talaga yung game shape kasi they could practice all they want in the bubble or wherever they're practicing, pero kung naglaro sila abroad and then 1 week after they're gonna play again, I think may edge na agad sila against yung mga opponents
Oo,
nila who haven't played for how many months.
sobra.
Mm.
And like I said, Mylene did not play her best volleyball in the PVL bubble last year.
Mm.
Iba. I think she'll be a candidate for best opposite
I
this
think
tournament.
maybe si Kat yung isa sa mga ano niya.
Si Kat yung nanalo last year eh. She was the
Yeah.
best opposite last year, but
Mm.
with Mylene playing the way she's playing, ooh,
Yeah. May
yeah, I
laban
think,
na.
oo.
Mm. Yeah. Pero yun nga, you mentioned na the top two other contenders for Group A and F2 is one of them. And I mean, as a Lasallian, of course, I still want them to win because the players that I've used to cheer for in the
So
UAAP
that's
are
why you
there.
don't agree with me, Diego. That's why you don't agree with me because you're going with F2.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going for. I mean, but then they have new players and I'm not sure if Calais, I don't think she's playing. So I don't
That's
know if they
why I'm
have.
not going. That's why I'm not
Yeah.
going for F2 because Calais is not playing. And Calais to
Yeah.
me is like it's a toss up between her and Eliza as to who the
Mm-mm.
best open spiker is in the country. And Calais is such a freaking powerhouse.
Mm-mm.
So, alam mo yun, parang without her, um Ara Galang is gonna have to have a monster
Heavy load, yeah.
tournament. Kiana D has to have a monster tournament as well. Majoy also. Pero iba kasi yung laki at yung power ni Kale. Eh.
Mm.
So she's like ano eh, parang I always say this when I talk about Jaja. Taas mo lang yung bola, good set, tapos na ang usapan.
Mm.
It's the same thing with Kale and Eliza. Just toss the ball up. Sila na
Yeah.
bahala. There are only a few players like that eh. Na toss the
Mm.
ball up, sila na bahala.
Baka tayo, pwede maging setter nila.
baka
Di ba?
baka tayo mapalo sa mukha kung mangyari yan.
Masyado silang magaling talaga. They know how to maneuver even if it's a bad first ball or medyo malakas talaga yung serve. Yung mga ganun. So, I think that's a big loss. But then they were able to add G Hervasio. And I don't know when's the last time she played. And she used to play a lot already for Beach. And I got surprised that they were able to add her. And they have Iris Tolenada. Because I'm not sure if Kim Fajardo's even gonna play. Like, she has an injury yata. So,
Yun,
hindi
that's
ako sure.
another reason. That's another reason
That's
why
another reason.
I can't put F2 number one because Kim Fajardo is also a question mark. Although Iris has been playing well.
Yeah, I think she won best setter in the
Yeah, she did in the
Champions League.
PNVF. Yep, she did.
Mm.
So, okay pa naman ang F2. You can't doubt a Coach Ramil De Jesus coach squad. The system is there. The system is there. So, para silang San Antonio Spurs ng PVL.
Yeah.
So, I just feel like malaking kawalan yung Kale. So, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Where will they get the points though? I mean, Kiana's a scorer, pero like in the UAP, hindi naman talaga siya yung parang Eliza nga, ganun, or Ara na they could rack up 20 points easily. Like, more of reliable when you need her, she's there. And Ara's their only scorer, and then there's no Calais. Cha Cruz is not playing anymore. Desiree Chengs and Choco Mucho. Won't it be tough for them to manufacture points? Because baka yung middle lang. I mean, Ara still have Abby and Majoy, pero like Ara might have a tough time trying to carry the offensive load for them.
All right, so I had Michelle Morente on Volleyball DNA, our latest
Mm.
episode, and she did say that she hopes that Aragalang turns back into, the UAAP lady spiker Aragalang. And
Yeah.
this is the perfect situation for her to do it, being that she has to be the primary offensive weapon on the wing as open
Mm-hmm.
spiker. So that's where they're gonna get their offense if Aragalan can turn back the clock. Pero
Yeah,
it's not
ASAP.
just the offense kasi, Diego. Eh. I mean, you have
Mm.
freaking Miss Everywhere, Dawn Macandili. Let's not forget about her. She's
Mm-hmm.
arguably, well, she is actually right now the best libero in the whole country.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
So let's not forget about the defense. I mean, Coach Ramil's teams are all about defense sa totoo lang. Remember, in
Mm-hmm.
LaSalle, like I believe for 6 straight years, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, they were the best blocking team in the UAAP.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
you've got Majoy, you have Abby, you have Kiana.
Mm-hmm.
So Iris is also pretty tall as a setter. So I think depends sa'yo magdadala sa F2 eh, not really the offense. Yeah.
Yeah, and yun nga, is their defense, do you think the best now in the PVL? I mean, based from your thoughts on the other players from other teams. Kasi nga, Don, yun nga, si Miss Everywhere yata yung nickname niya, and they have the height to try to mitigate the strong spikes of maybe Chery Tiggo or Choco Mucho. Would you say
Well,
that they need to rely on that strength for the tournament?
I'm scanning through the lineups right now, and if there's no Jaja for Chery Tigo, then F2 is the best defensive team in my opinion in the PVL.
Mm,
No
yeah.
Jaja, it's no Maddie for Choco
Yeah,
Mucho.
she has torn
It's
ACL, right?
yeah, it's gotta be F2. It's gotta be F2.
Mm-hmm. How
You,
about
you
from...
nandun yung mga Torre and then you have Dawn in the back. Oh my god. How are you
Yeah,
gonna get through that?
yeah.
Yeah.
How about from their signings? Like, who do you think the fans should watch out for? Like, baka si G Hervasio lang yung well-known. Pero meron silang mga iba, like sila Shola Alvarez, sila Ramos, Jesma Ramos, and I think a few others. Sino sa tingin mo yung mga pwedeng maging, pag natatalo, may favorite ni Coach Emil, yung bubunot siya sa bench, tapos
it,
magaling.
it's tough to say what Z is going to do because, like you said, it's been a while since she played indoor. Everybody was caught off guard by this signing of Z. Even Eliza said on Volleyball DNA it was the most interesting PVL off-season move.
Yeah, I
So I don't
watched
know
that
what.
episode.
Yeah, I don't know what Z's role is gonna be. I mean, Z plays the opposite position, but we know Kiana's gonna play
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much the
why.
whole game. Diba?
Mm,
Shola's an open spiker. So I don't know if she's going to start. I don't know. Yun, I think the big question mark here is who's going to start alongside Aragalang
yeah, because
among
there's no
the
desk
open
anymore.
spikers. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
exactly. No Calais, no Des. So, yeah, parang opensa yung kulang dito sa wings wing spikers opensa.
Mhm.
But the defense yun ang magdadala sa kanila.
Yeah, I mean the F2 Logistics. Yeah, and finally they're in the same league with Choco Mucho and Creamline. So people are gonna finally see, hopefully, in the playoffs if things go well for these teams and competitive matchup. But then Choco Mucho is another team I'd want to focus on because
Mm.
they were, I think, undefeated for a good amount of time in the previous conference. But then toward the end, na ubusan yata sila, and yun nga, nung semis natalo din sila against Chery Tiggo ata or Creamline. Who did they lose to nung last ano?
They lost to Petrogas
Oh,
in
Petro.
the battle for third, but
So
in the
the final four.
semis
Yeah.
in the final four they lost to Chery Tigo.
Ah, yeah, Chery Tiggo. Tama. Because I thought they were gonna win. Like, I don't know. Parang kala ko Coach O was
Yeah,
gonna work it
because
magic.
they won the first game.
Yeah,
They
that's what
won
I
the
thought
first
also.
game. Mm.
Kasi like I've watched Ateneo a lot and they were more
Mm.
talented than these NU players. Pero syempre, iba na nga, professional na. And na-expose yata yung weakness ng Choco Mucho na wala silang reliable open hitter. Like Regina Rocha is the one there. But now they added yun, Des Cheng and Isa Molde to try to fill in the gaps. And they have Kat pa rin, who you said already, one opposite. And then maybe Ogunsani Aduke was the perfect filler since they don't have Maddie. So do you think Choco Mucho can reach the finals? I mean, that's what the fans thought because they were undefeated. But then naubusan nga sa dulo ng last conference.
Ito yung masasabi ko. Choco Mucho will go as far as Dino Wong can take them. So if
Mm.
Dino Wong plays well this conference, I think they can go all the way to the finals. Kasi if there was one team that really tried to fill in their weaknesses in the offseason, it's Choco Mucho. Kasi
Mhm.
everybody was saying that. Parang kulang pa sila sa open spikers. So you get Descheng, you get Isa Molde to help out Pongay and Regine. Pongay, in my opinion, was one of the most improved players in the PVL
Mhm.
bubble. So you lose Maddie. How do you try to fill in that spot? So you get Chery Nunag, you get a Duque Ogonsanya, and then you get Thang Ponce to help then also. So I
Yeah.
think in terms of like a team that talagang beefed up, ito yun eh. Ito yung Choco Mucho eh. So
Mm.
Maddie won't be there and Maddie's their team captain. That's my biggest concern in my opinion. Nawala yung leader nila. It's hard when the leader is not on the floor with you. That's why I said they're gonna go as far as Dina Wong can take them because Dina has to be that leader now for Choco Mucho. And if she can play inspired volleyball and be superb with regards to her playmaking, I think they can go all the way to the finals.
Mm. Sa tingin mo ba si Dina mas vocal or kasi kailangan mo rin ng vocal leader, mas vocal ba siya kaysa kay Pongay or Bea? What's your thoughts on that?
Dina's a vocal player. It's just that, syempre, mas senior sa kanya si BDL eh.
Mm.
'Di ba? So it's a tough dynamic because like you want to speak up, but it's hard to speak up when there are players who are older than you. But
Mm.
then, syempre, may nawalan sila ng isang senior in Maddie. So, kailangan na rin niya talaga mag-step up. And I think naman, she's the setter eh. Sabi nila, it's where everything starts.
Mhm.
So she has to be vocal. I think she has those leadership qualities. So she has to that wala siyang choice eh. She has to speak up, she has to communicate, she has to lead on the floor, she has to play make, and her level of play will really determine how far Choco Mucho will go this conference, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, nung under Gia's wing in Ateneo, ang laki na nung improvement niya. And I've been watching
Mm.
her since her rookie campaign in the UAAP, and I'm impressed with how she's expanded her arsenal. But then yung sa Choco Mucho nga, you mentioned that don't have Maddie and they still have Bea. But then yung open spiker nga ba nila with Isa and Des, do you think that's enough to compete with the best? I mean, syempre, kunwari kalabanan nila yung Creamline and semis. I don't know if they could in the semis or they play Chery Tiggo with Din, Mylene, and EJ and Shaya. Like, is that enough in that position to actually help them? Or is Kat gonna have a hard time? I mean, I think she had a hard time last year trying to manufacture the points for them.
I think they got the best players they could have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi Des Cheng, um, she had seasons in LaSalle where she was the primary open spiker. So when you have that
Mm-hmm.
experience, ano na eh, hindi na bago sa iyo yung role.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously in F2 she had to take a back seat. Now she's back in the front.
Mm-hmm.
So I think hindi na siya maninibago na yung bola mapupunta sa kanya. Same thing with Isa because Isa was one of the main gunners along with Tots sa UP.
Thoughts, yeah.
So dapat wala nang unfamiliarity yan. There's no more like oh crap, I'm like the main spiker
Yeah.
here. Wala nang ganon. So I think
Mm-hmm.
they got the best players they could have gotten, and I think it's enough. I think it's enough. Tsaka I mean, if you're Dina Wong, you have Kat Tolentino on one side of the net. You got BDL in the middle, and you
Yeah.
got Pongay or Isa or Des. That's a lot of weapons, man. So it's really up to Dina talaga eh. For
Mm.
me, kung ako yung magko-commentator diyan, it's how many Dina amazing plays she can make that will determine how far Choco Mucho will go in the
Mm.
PPL.
Yeah. Kanina nga sinasabi mo lahat ng additions nila, medyo marami yun. And I don't know,
Marami eh.
I don't play volleyball naman, and they didn't have that much time to practice because of the Omicron variant nga. And do you think that chemistry could actually be an issue? I mean, I'm not sure how it works. Like Lasal lang kasi when I watched them in the UAP and even nung latter part nung Coach O time in Ateneo, mahalata mo kung gaano ka-close yung team and yung chemistry nila na dadala nila on the court. Pero here with new additions will play major roles who are tasked to do a ton of responsibilities right away. Do you think that'll be a issue? I mean, when adversity strikes, syempre when they win, walang mangyayari. Pero pag adversity with no Madi pa, and in addition to that.
I think when you spend a lot of time doing TikTok videos and you spend a lot of time in the swimming pool and you don't have chemistry, that's a problem. Pero ang dami ko nakikitang mga ganon every time
Yeah,
I
same
scroll on
IG.
social media, di
Yeah.
ba? So,
Mm.
I'd be surprised if they didn't have no chemistry. Di ba? So, ayun, I don't think there'll be some issues with regards to chemistry. Obviously, there'll be a little adjustment period, but they've had time and nagti-team building naman sila. So by the time the PVL comes, I don't think naman na may pagkukulang yon with regards to chemistry. And it's
Mm.
not just Choco Mucho going to deal with that. There are a lot of other teams here in the PVL who have new players, so all of them
Mm.
will be juggling and trying to find ways to find the right combination on the court.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sila lang rin with the major movement. Sila kasi yung may highest chance, or people expect a lot of them to actually win it. Yung iba kasi medyo, mga Cinderella teams lang yan, or underrated teams. So that's why I think that eyeballs will be focused on them more in terms of their moves. Like, kunwari, hindi ganun kagaling yung player na to. You mentioned nga sa social media, yung mga fans, kung ano sinasabi. So feeling ko, pag hindi ganun kagaling kumari si Des, ang dami na magti-tweet ganyan first few games. So I think that the expectations for them as one of the fan favorites will be, maybe it might be tough for them. But then I think with Coach O, they will be able to overcome it na rin naman eventually.
Guys, curious ako. Gusto ko malaman kung sino sa tingin nyo magiging top 2 dito sa Pool A. So, I already said Chery Tiggo. It's a toss-up between Choco Mucho and F2. Ikaw, Diego, alam ko F2 ka eh.
Yeah, I think F2.
F2. So if F2 and then Chery Tiggo and Choco Mucho, sino sa dalawa for you?
I think for me it's F2 and Chery Tiggo, kasi nga it changed because of the Dindin and Mylene arrival, and I wasn't that familiar with some players yet of Chery Tiggo entering last year. Like Shaya, I watched her a bit lang, and on the UAP, and then Buding and Jasmine, ang laki ng improvement as you alluded to earlier. And nung UAP, hindi pa sila ganito kagaling that could compete with the best in Philippine volleyball. So I've impressed with their teamwork and their determination to win despite the early hurdles.
Oh guys, ayan if you agree with Diego, mag-comment kayo. If you don't agree, at him na lang.
Mababash pa tayo.
Hindi, be kind guys. And okay, Black Mamba and Signal HD.
Yeah, yun. To wrap
Syempre,
it up,
we don't want to like overlook them, but I'm just gonna say this about Signal HD. We're looking at history. They didn't make the Final Four in the previous PVL bubble. So, Black Mamba Army, pretty much the same lineup. I had Jovelyn, titas of PVL nga, Jovelyn Gonzaga. Last year, I interviewed her on Volleyball DNA. Sabi niya, gusto ko yung mysterious kami. So this year, mysterious na naman sila. But we already saw their lineup last year. Maybe they're gonna have a few surprise players, but pretty much it's gonna be sina Jovelyn pa rin, sina Honey Royce Tobino, si Ging Balse Pabayo, Fen Emnas, Angela Nunag. Sila pa rin team ni Coach Kung Fu. Yung Signal, for sure, they will win more than one match.
They have Rhea now.
I'd be shocked if they... Kasi last year, grabe, I was shocked. 1-8 lang sila eh. They were dead last. They only beat Santa Lucia. But now that they have Rhea, they have Ces Molina also. Rhea Meneses was first best blocker last season. Tapos may Grace Bombita pa sila and Jel Cayuna. For sure, they're gonna win more than one match. I'd be shocked if 1-8 pa rin yung record nila, or hindi sila umabot sa semis. I'd be shocked.
And I think yun nga, they have more weapons now and more players to utilize. Kasi siguro last year, nag-focus yung opponents nila kay Rachel Andakis, and then yung iba hindi masyado naka-contribute. So nahirapan sila. Kasi Jovelyn was there nung PSL before nagka-COVID eh. I watched that game and she was helping Rachel Andakis there with the offensive firepower. Kaya nag-silver yata sila nun eh, nung All-Filipino sa PSL, pero kapag dating sa PVL, medyo nahirapan sila. But I think now they could win more games. I mean, how many games will they play? Like they only play once against their group, right? So they need
Yeah,
to.
so there are 5 teams in Pool A. They're guaranteed 4 matches.
Mm,
So yun, for guaranteed 4 matches, one of them won't be playing anymore in the quarterfinals. Kasi apat yung mag-a-advance and then the top two will have twice to beat.
So sa kabila pasok na sila lahat in short kasi
Yep,
four lang sila dun eh.
yep,
Oo. Yeah.
yep.
So may challenge pala kung dito ka sa kabilang group kasi ikaw lang yung hindi maglalaro. Everyone's playing because you're the one that's only not there. Pero yeah, we can now move on to the group B, and yeah, everyone is focused on Creamline. I think it's I don't know. I think something miraculously happens for them not to be the first seed in my opinion. I think they've locked it up even without Michelle Gumabao. Because what I think is last year, I mean, Michelle was their starting utility, I believe so. But then there were games that did sub and then did have Tots, Gemma, and Eliza.
Yep.
And siguro sa blocking may magpa-plummet ng konti. Pero do you think the Michelle Gumabao absence, what do you think is gonna have the effect on them? Is it that much of a negative effect or halos wala lang din because they still have the pieces for a championship team?
Well, kasi interchangeable si MG at si Totse. They're both great players, 'di ba?
Mm.
But obviously si Michelle is focusing on her campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So at least all the players who are available are focused on winning the championship. So not having Michelle there, all that means is Tots Carlos will be on the court pretty much the whole match.
Yeah,
So
that's what I thought of too. Yeah.
so yun lang yung effect nun. Yun lang yung effect nun. I think the biggest concern here for Creamline is Coach Tai is not gonna be there. At least sa latest
Yeah,
kasi parang
basically.
si Coach Sherwin yung magko-coach eh.
Mm.
So I think that's the biggest concern. Can they do what they've been doing without Coach Tai? So para sa akin yun yung pinakamalaking concern sa Creamline because they're virtually intact. You've got Gia, you've got Eliza, you've got Gemma, you've got Pangs in the middle, you've got Celine
Risa.
Domingo, Risa Sato, Kyla
Mm.
Atienza. Sobrang solid. This is championship level volleyball for Creamline. And yun yung pinakamalaking question mark sa kanila. Like, can they perform the way they perform without the voice and the energy of Coach Tai?
Mm. Pag nilista mo nga siguro yung moves, sila yata yung may least moves ngayong
Yeah.
off-season eh. Pero ikaw, do you agree with that kind of style? Lalo na silver naman sila last time and they've won before na with this score.
If it ain't broke, why fix it? Diba?
Yeah.
And I mean, they could have won
Mm-hmm.
if Din Din didn't go crazy and score 32 points in game number 3. If Jaja didn't go super Saiyan mode in the finals, Creamline could have easily won that series. Pero hindi eh. Nag-step up sila eh. Step up yung dalawang magkapatid eh. So that's what happened. But like, if you're able to make it to the finals consistently year after year with the same group of players, why change it? Diba?
Mm. So yun nga, parang when you check their lineup, ano ba yung weakness? Parang for me, I don't know, it's tough. I mean, from an outsider perspective and a
Sa
fan's
lineup
perspective.
wala. Sa lineup wala. It's Coach Tai's absence. And this is with
Okay.
all due respect to Coach Sherwin and the
Yeah.
rest of the coaching staff kasi magkasama pa rin sila. But syempre, iba yung Coach Tai eh. Iba yung nakikita mo nagba-backpedal siya, yung sumusuntok-suntok. Di ba? It's different when you hear him on the sideline like, Gia, Eliza, you know, it's different when you don't hear that voice. So I
Yeah,
think
and
that's the biggest concern. But with regards to the players and the chemistry, wala. There's still good vibes pa rin itong Creamline.
yung wala nga si Coach Tai sa massive impact for them. But do you think ma-magnify yun or makikita lang yun kunwari nagkaroon ng tough time in the quarters or in the final four or the finals? Kasi I think naman they're gonna make it whether it's Coach Sherwin or Coach Tai as the top seed. Pero yun nga, pag medyo natalo sila ng first set or down 1-2 sila in a game and they want the motivation or the inspiration from Coach Tai, do you think that's where it's gonna have an effect rather than earlier in the conference?
I don't think so because Creamline is another one of those teams who are very close to one another. They spend a lot of time with each other, and it's been years. Para silang F2 eh. Parang
Mhm.
may system na, and this is the team that has been winning. Creamline winning in the PVL, F2 winning in the PSL. Ang nagbago lang dito is nawala si Coach Tai eh. So I think
Mm.
the players can talk amongst themselves. Coach Sherwin will step up and maybe even emerge and do what Aaron Velez did last PVL season.
Mm. Yung mystery question for you is, sila ba yung favorites to win it all for you, or biglang magbabago ba dahil Chery Tiggo's as din and Mylene?
I think ito again, be kind everybody I think Creamline is the favorite to win the PVL Open Conference this year. Kasi they're the most intact eh. Look,
Mm.
okay, wala si Coach Tai, but Coach Sherwin still there. This is the same coaching staff, 'di ba? Ang yung emotional boost that you get from Coach Tai, yun lang yung mawawala. But that can be replaced naman by the players, playing inspired volleyball. But yung Charity Go walang Jaja. Yung F2 walang Kale.
Mm.
So, ang laking bagay na it's the players who are playing eh. It's
Mm.
the players who are playing, and all the players are going to play for Creamline. So I think that's the edge, that they have the personnel that have been proven to win championships. It's a roster that's built to win championships year after year after year, and they still have it. So
Mm.
that's why they're the favorites in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. When I watch them, talaga makikita mo na mga 3 years, 4 years na sila magkakasama. Kahit di sila teammates nung college or sa ibang clubs. Dito talaga iba na yung laro nila. And I agree with you that they actually are the favorites to win it. But then, one concern is, why do you think they actually lost to Chery Tiggo? Was it more breaks of the game? And if you're the opposing coach, or, I don't know, assistant coach of the other teams, how would you actually game plan for them? Because yun nga, you mentioned sa lineup nila, wala namang weaknesses. Kung check mo, kahit yung bench nila malakas with Celine Domingo there as a middle blocker, and
Diego,
Ayla Atienza.
I'll give you two names why they lost to Chery Tiggo. Jaja and Dindin.
Just talent talaga.
It's just
Yeah.
simple as that. See, we
Mm.
had Jaja Santiago on Volleyball DNA after they won the finals. Sinabi niya sa amin ni Denden na parang hindi na ako yung naglalaro. It kasi super pagod na siya eh. It was game number
Mm.
3, pang ilang araw na nilang naglalaro, and like parang sinapian siya, and like, do you see her eyes in game number 3? Grabe,
Mm.
like monster performance. And then si Dindin, for years, like, she wasn't on the national team, di siya masyadong pinag-uusapan. She reminded everybody who she was and what she could do. And now, coming from Thailand, feeling ko mas grabe pa yung improvement at yung lalaruin ni Dindin Santiago. So, wala eh. That's sports. Like, there are players who can elevate. Ito yung buhat eh. Ito yung parang sinasabi nila sa Mobile Legends. Pabuhat naman. Diba?
Yeah.
How can you stop that? Binuhat sila ni Jaja and Dindin eh. And when
Mm.
those two are clicking, they just went crazy. They were playing like two imports, and they actually are two imports. They played in Japan. So it's hard to win against a team like that when you have players lifting an entire squad, and they just put them over the top, and that's why they won over Creamline last conference.
Yeah, how about the game plan? Like, if you're going against Creamline, like if you're Petrogas, PLDT, or Bali Pure, like what will you even do? Nothing. I mean, they're just too good. But what do you think is the weakness they could try to expose at least?
Against Creamline.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any.
Okay, I'm no coach, guys. I don't play volleyball. All I know about volleyball is from my experience covering the
Yeah,
sport since 2009. So I won't get into like technical details because,
yeah,
like I
nitty
said, I'm not
gritty.
I'm not
Yeah.
a player, but like the only thing you can do is like elevate your game talaga, which is what
Mm,
Jaja and Dindin did in the
yun lang.
finals.
Yeah.
They just elevated their game, diba? Who scores 32 points in game number 3? of the finals. Dinden wasn't doing that prior, but
Yeah, that's why I got surprised.
she did when it mattered the most, and that's what
Mm.
Creamline was not ready for that.
Mhm.
'Di ba? So what if Aragalang comes up with a throwback performance? Biglang maka
Mm.
22 points, 25 points. Oh, you're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
'Di ba? 'Di ba? What if Kat Tolentino comes up with a monster performance tapos may contributions from Pongay, from Descheng, from BDL, from Duque, 'di ba? Nakikita ko sa Choco Mucho, balanced eh.
Yeah, ang
Balanced
dami na nilang
offensive
weapons
attack eh.
ngayon.
Pick your poison eh. It's pick your poison with Choco Mucho, 'di ba?
Mhm.
And then Chery Tiggo. What if Mylene Pat, becomes best scorer dito sa PVL, 'di ba?
Oo.
That's how you're gonna beat Creamline, with great individual performances from great players.
Mhm. How about their opponents in the same group? I mean, siguro these teams like Petrogas, PLDT, and Bali Pure, like maybe other fans would say na yun nga, it'd be tough for them to match talent for talent against the top three in Group A and Creamline here. Pero for you, like among the three, sino yung mas may biggest chance to be a surprise team in the Final Four or possibly even the finals? Kasi Petrogas has a rejuvenated team with Coach Jerry. Bali Pure was like the labeled as the Giant Slayers last year, and yung PLDT naman, they added Mika Reyes also, and they have George Pascua now at the
Man, ang hirap.
helm.
Kasi yung Petrogas, I thought they would keep the team together because they're a pretty
Oh.
decent team. But then they have a new coach, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
They still have Mila Pablo. They still have Gretzel. Chisa's still
Yeah,
there. Janelle Cheng. But they got MJ Phillips, Isa Maizo
the
Puntillas,
Santa
Nicole
Lucia players.
Tiamzon, Bang
Yeah.
Pineda, Shen Cruz. Pero
Mm-hmm.
mabigat yung nawala. You lose Catarado, who was the best libero. You lose Ria Meneses, another awardee.
Mm-hmm.
Tess Molina, national team player before. You lost Jesse De Leon. So, it's a toss-up between Petrogas and PLDT. Kasi yung PLDT, so you have George Pascua, Rhea de Maculangan. The problem with her last season was she didn't have any weapons. Parang
Yeah.
she was an ate playing with young guns.
Yeah.
So now she gets Mika Reyes, she gets Jules Samonte, who's gonna make her pro
Mm-hmm.
debut, Del Palomata, national team, Catarado.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a squad also, yung PLDT. But if I'm gonna choose between PLDT and Petrogas, man, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, ang hirap kasi yung Catarado, ang laking factor eh. Kasi
Yeah.
like si Bang Pineda, we know that she's not really a
She's the libero
libero.
now.
Although
Mm.
Shen Cruz is there naman, so dalawa sila.
Mm.
Pero yung Catarado
But
kasi,
Cass like top three in the Philippines siguro as libero. She's one of the
top
best, you know.
she's behind Don. Like
Mm.
for me, number 2 si Kat behind Don sa libero. Um, man. Okay, I think I'm gonna stick with Petrogas here.
Yeah, that's what
For
I
for
thought
ano.
too.
Although Michelle Morente, sabi niya PLDT and Creamline. Panoorin niyo na lang guys yung Volleyball DNA. Sorry nag-plug din ako sa podcast
I
mo.
think I think it's gonna be out. Like I think your episode's gonna be out with Michelle when this comes out, so they'll be able to tune into it. Kasi now
Yeah.
we're taping it pala pa. So yun yung I think by that time. Kasi I'll release this naman bago mag-start na mag-open na yung season. Pero yeah, I think Petrogas also. I mean, yung MJ Phillips ang galing din. I watched last conference. And I think Isa Maizo, you can't take for
Mm.
granted her veteran expertise. Nicole Tiamson still pretty good. I mean, her stint with UP and her other professional stints. So, I think yung Kath Arado nga malaking butas yun na mawawala
Yeah.
even if you have Cruz and Pineda. But I don't know. Feeling ko lang
Humina
Petrogas.
sila sa depensa, man. They got
Mm.
weaker on defense kasi Meneses also.
Oh yeah, didn't she win an award
Humina,
like Ria
she did.
Meneses?
She was first best blocker.
Yeah, that's why. That's a huge hole.
Yeah.
Who's their middle
So,
blockers now? Who do you think can try to
si Rem.
replicate that?
Si Rem Palma. Okay naman si Rem. Rem is pretty solid.
Yeah,
Yun,
but
vocal
yeah,
yun. But, di
yeah,
ba, syempre,
vocal.
but no, not on a level of Ria Meneses, but
Yeah.
the size is there, the energy is there. So, pero syempre, iba yung mga big names like Ria and Kat Arado.
Yeah, like Gretchen Sultones and Myla Pablo, I think they're more than enough offensively to try to have a firepower for the
Yeah.
team. Pero yun nga, defense, I mean, this game is like basketball, then you need to be good both ways. Kung hindi, the opponents, with all the scouting and the film, they're gonna find ways to expose your weaknesses. So yung defense nila, I don't know, for me, mahirapan talaga sila to compete. I mean, I think they'll make it to the maybe semis. Pero like if they're against one of the teams from the other group, parang mahirapan sila na yung star power ng kabila, ang lakas eh.
I think makakahinga sila ng malalim if they get yung twice to beat sa quarters. So like ang laking bagay, whoever gets it, Petrogas or PLDT, is like huge sigh of relief. Yeah.
But they play the third of the opposing group. Third. Pero sila
Mm.
yung twice to beat kasi second sila. Parang
Oo
ganun.
nga, no? Parang hindi sigh of relief because you could either get Choco Mucho, Chery Tiggo, or F2. Oh my God.
Yeah, they
Diba?
need to beat you twice though, in a row. So medyo...
Oo. Grabe yung bakbakan sa pool A. Grabe.
How about Coach Jerry? I mean, he was a consultant last conference and now he's back
Yeah.
as a head coach. Do you think he'll make a huge difference for their team?
Yeah, I mean, because he's familiar with the team. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's no more adjustment period because, he's familiar with the team naman. And Coach Jerry is also a good coach, diba? From Hope Christian High School. So,
UP. Mm.
yeah, so I think there's it's not going to be a problem, like, in terms of, like, getting them to follow his system naman.
Mm.
Mm.
How about yung sa PLDT? Nagulat ka ba na Coach Rogers is not the coach anymore? Like, your honest opinion lang. Kasi ako, I don't know. I got caught off guard because I didn't know na they were gonna switch coaches na kaagad. And, I mean, I'm not saying that Coach George isn't as good as him naman or he's not fit for the job. Pero nagulat lang ako kasi, I don't know, I've watched Coach Rogers since I started watching volleyball in like
Mhm.
2013.
Same, like when I first started covering volleyball, I talked to Coach Roger for like over an hour, and I had my little notebook. As he's making cuento his whole life. So I mean, was I surprised? Di naman, kasi there's a lot of coaching and player movement naman sa volleyball, and a guy like Coach Roger will always find a job. I was just at GMA the other day, and there was a San Sebastian women's volleyball player, and then I was asking, oh, kamusta si Coach Roger? Oh, happy naman siya. Happy rin
Mm.
kami, very active. So I'm happy for Coach Roger, but Coach George Pasqua is a pretty damn good coach as well. He's a
Yeah,
championship
that's why.
coach. So kaya exciting tong season na to because maliit lang din ang mundo ng volleyball eh. Magugulat ka, oh, there's a coaching change, but the coach that comes in is somebody who's also decorated. So okay din itong PLDT.
Mm. Pero yung Bali Pure, like, as the last team to talk about, like, I think they added Joe Maraginot as, like, the biggest name they added. What's your thoughts about them? Like, they were the Giant Slayers nga, diba? I remember someone called them that. I'm not sure if it was sila Carmela Tunay or Boom or something. Pero they beat some strong teams, pero hanggang dun nga lang yata. Like, they only won a couple of games last year kasi nga, siguro they're not as talented as the others. They're still, nagkakaamuyan pa sila. What's your outlook for them naman?
Well, ganun ulit. The other teams are going to have to find some way to motivate themselves to play Bali Pure, a team that doesn't have a lot of high expectations because, obviously, yung talent nila is not as high as the other teams. And then they lost their captain pa, si Grace Bombita, who is, where is Grace playing now?
Isn't she in PLDT or Petrogas? One of those, right?
She's with Signal now. Grace is with
Signal, okay.
Signal now. So, laking kawalan nun. But they still have Gaira Baroga, they have Bern Flora, Jen Casugod, Alina Bicar, Sati Espiritu. Pero yun nga, Joe Maraginot, si Joe, I feel like, hindi pa niya na-reach yung full potential niya. And again, here's a brand new opportunity for her to do that. So, tingnan natin. If mabigyan siya ng pagkakataon, I think there was a year in Ateneo where she was the primary open spiker. So, here she is again for Bali Pure. I think it's the same situation for them. Yung makabulag sila if a team plays against them and then papetiks-petiks sila, they're not playing so hard, they'll get shocked again by Bali Pure. So I think it's the same outlook for them. If teams slack off, they're gonna take an L from Bali Pure if they slack off.
Yeah, but how about for the league as a whole? Like, yeah, yung mga teams naman, they're no pushover. Like talagang if you take them for granted on any given night, they could win like how Bali Pure did. Pero yung mga players naman na magugulat na lang yung mga tao na talagang biglang gumaling. Like yung mga Jasmine Naborn and Buding, like they weren't expected na talagang maging ganun kagaling ng finals and nung run nila. Or maybe Regina Rocha, yung mga ganun. Like these, like if you don't watch the NCAA, I don't think you would have known na ganun kagaling pala siya. Choco Mucho's open spiker din last year. Like who are these players na underrated, yung unheralded stars that you think they could make a splash now? Ever since, pandemic pa, like wala namang preseason tournaments or anything.
You're asking me like who I think is gonna have a breakout tournament?
Yeah, you could
Like,
give a couple of names. I don't know how many you think. It go up to you.
That's a good question. Um,
I like those kinds of players for any sport. Yeah.
see, I asked the same question actually to Michelle Morente, and Michelle said Jesse De Leon. Yeah. I remember last year when I did the PVL preview on Volleyball DNA with Joey Villar, I said Dina Wong. And then Joey said Kat Tolentino. So like breakout performer. You know what? I'm gonna roll the dice since we're both Lasallians. I'm gonna say Ara Galang. Ara Galang.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Ara Galang will turn back the clock and come up with a couple of 20-point performances.
They'll need it, talaga, especially against the
They'll need
powerhouse.
it talaga. That's why I'm saying this. and syempre, as ang maganda ngayon, I'm not covering the PVL, so I can actually cheer for certain players and certain teams. I don't have that, I might be biased. Diba? So, since mga Lasalle naman tayo, we're always supporting our fellow Lasallians. Ako, sasabi to answer your question. I'm gonna put Ara Galang's name in the hat.
How about for the awards? I mean, we don't need to discuss it since we haven't watched any game yet. Pero from like, the names that won it na last year or a few years back, like, alam na natin yan, like Eliza's leading candidate, Gemma, etc. Pero for the awards, like something higher than like a breakout star, do you think someone could actually like win an award na hindi mo yun expect? Like, kunwari, si Kat niya yung utility you mentioned, who did you mention? Did you mention? I forgot who you mentioned. No,
Si
medyo
Mylene.
Mylene. Yeah, Mylene can win it. Like something similar to that. Like who do you think has a chance to win any of the awards? Like, yeah, you could bring a couple of names also.
All right. Well, let's start with Mylene then. I think she... Okay, ito pagbibigyan kita, Diego. I'm usually the one asking my guests for predictions. I'll give my predictions. To everybody watching this, magbigay din kayo ng mga predictions nyo. Ilagay niyo sa comments. Okay? Sige. Best opposite for me, I'll predict Mylene Paat. Okay? So we got Mylene Paat at opposite. Best libero, I'm gonna say Don. Okay? So Don
no surprise
is gonna be best libero. Best open spiker, it's gonna be Eliza. And man, is Dindin gonna play open or middle? I'm gonna say she's gonna play open. So Eliza and Dindin for open. So I need two middles. I'm gonna go Majoy for one of the middles. And I'm gonna go BDL for the other middle.
BDL. I knew you were gonna go.
Okay, so kulang na lang setter, no? Okay. Since I hosted her wedding and I'm good friends with them, si Gia Gel, I'm gonna go Gia de Guzman.
Yeah.
Okay, Gia de Guzman na siya, guys. Masanay na tayo. So I gave you my predictions, man. Only here on the DVD show. We got best setter, Gia de Guzman, open spikers, Eliza and Dindin, middle blockers, BDL and Majoy, best opposite, Mylene Paat, best libero, Don Macandili. So those are my picks, guys. Kayo kung may mga picks kayo, put them in the comments. section below. No need to at me. Let's be kind.
How about Final Four and Final? Since you're willing to give your predictions already, maybe we could go as far as that also without
Yeah.
seeing them play for several months already.
Yeah, I think I kind of gave my final four, 'di ba? So wait, Pool B, so Creamline and Petrogas. Tama, 'di ba? Yeah. Creamline
Yeah,
and
but who's
Petrogas
gonna
for Pool
win?
B.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's work our way up. Creamline, Petrogas, and then sa Pool A, oh my god, ito yung mahirap eh. Kasi Chery Tiggo, I'm already putting their name in the hat. Yung sa Choco, medyo biased ako eh. Kasi co-host ko si Denden eh. Ang
Which
hirap
is
eh.
fine. People will understand that.
Ang hirap eh. F2 or kasi it's hard to bet against F2 eh. Kasi yung Choco Mucho, I feel like ano eh, yun nga eh, it's up to Dina Wong eh. So like they could sink really low or they could go up really high. I think yung
Nagmamature naman na siya.
oo, yung level of success could go all the way to the top, but if magkagulo, it could sink also eh. So because of that, my God, this is super tough for me, man. I hate to say this, but man, I think it's gonna be F2 and Chery Tiggo who are gonna have twice to beat. Like Coach O is my friend also, so like, man, that's super tough, man.
But then, do you think they're all gonna win? Like the ones with the twice to beat, they'll win. Like kasi syempre matchup based na to, hindi na to yung parang sino mas magaling. Do you think they'll win it and then sila rin yung magtatapat sa Final Four?
Mahirap sabihin. Kasi what if Dina plays super well and gets everybody involved? Hindi
Then
sila
they win 2 in a row.
Yeah, they can easily win 2 in a row if Dina plays well, 'di ba? And they okay, eto. I think we're gonna see Creamline and Choco Mucho in the semifinals face off against each other. That's
exciting. Aren't they like sister teams pa? Diba?
Yeah, I think we might see them face off against each other in the semifinals. And then in the finals, whoo, man, eto, I'm confident Creamline's going to be in the finals.
Same, yeah.
I'm confident Creamline is going to be in the finals.
Because you know what you're going to get out from them. Like, they're the core already, it's there na.
And this is barring any injuries, ha? Because injuries can change everything, especially like this is a short tournament. So barring any injuries, I think I see Creamline in the finals. And since everybody's been building it up for so long, I think it's going to be Creamline and F2. I think we're going to get the dream finals. We're going to get the Ribisco semifinals. I want to see these matchups. Yeah. We're going to get the Ribisco semifinals, Creamline and Choco Mucho, and then we're going to get the dream finals, Creamline and F2.
Yeah. But you think but you mentioned Creamline's the favorite, so you think they have a better shot of winning it. Talaga.
Yep. If I were to choose who's going to win, I think Creamline is going to redeem themselves.
Yeah, I have a feeling too. I mean, that team's really intact and they play well together. And I don't know if F2 has that same talent that Jaja and Dindin possessed last year, especially with no Kale. Like, they don't have that towering presence that's going to intimidate.
Alam mo, kung may Kale at may healthy na Kim Fajardo, F2 ako. Walang coach tayo eh.
Pero nga, yeah. Wala.
If may Kale at may Kim Fajardo, F2 is the favorite, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Pero patago, like, they're not saying if Kim's healthy now. Like, we'll just find out, diba?
Pero definitive na walang Kale. So, ang laking bagay nun. So yun, that's why I can't say that like sure ball na mag-champion. Like, mas confident ako sa Creamline kasi kompleto yung roster nila. Yeah. Like kasi, diba? Like if you have a draft, if you're gonna start a team, some of the names that you will think of to draft first are Alyssa, Jaja, and Kale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Diba? But you got no Jaja. You got no Kale. So you're left with Alyssa. Diba? Yeah. So if I'm gonna make a prediction, I'm gonna go with the player who's there. Mm-hmm. So Creamline ako.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same. I mean, even if I cheer for F2 kasi like, I feel like Creamline's the favorite. Like, pag nanalo F2 for me, medyo upset yun. I mean, gano'n naman sports, may mga upsets. Pero yeah,
Mm.
we're here naman like just to make our predictions for fun and hopefully
For fun
kayo
lang to, guys.
yeah.
For fun lang, please. Mamaya baka mag-viral yung channel mo, Degs, after And what are
Yeah.
these two guys talking about?
Yeah.
Magalit sa Ateneo ata to.
Yeah.
Or
Pero
Lasallians.
before go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, hindi kasi parehas tayong we pick Creamline eh.
Oh.
So, mga Lasaliano tayo. Baka
Yeah.
yung mga kapwa Lasaliano natin, magtaka.
Yeah. Yeah. But before we wrap up, these are like standard questions I ask my guests then. So I want to ask
Mm,
you also, like even if I ask them, I also want to ask you, even if it's not really related to like the topic. But then the
mhm,
first question is, I'm pretty sure you watch the NBA and you know these players that are very vocal on social and political issues. And now sa Philippines, mas naging active na rin yung athletes and yung mga media people in terms of informing people on the social and political issues. Pero before there were issues na yung mga athletes, 'di ba? Hindi dapat parang shut up and dribble lang, dapat
mm,
yung social and political issues hindi yan kasama sa pagiging athlete, like you just play the game. But then now they realize they have a platform. Now you guys, you have the followers in social media. Now whatever you share, people are gonna believe you if it's fake news or trolls or whatever. But for you, is it okay for like yun, sports personalities, media, coaches, players to express their views on social media and enhance the knowledge of these people that are unaware of what's happening in the country or in the world?
absolutely. I think what is freedom of speech if you cannot express what you feel inside? Diba?
Mm-hmm.
And in this day and age, we have all the means to do it. We can create our own YouTube channels, we can create our own social media accounts to be able to get our voice out there. So I think it's an amazing thing to have, popular and powerful figures in the field of sports speaking up and letting everybody know, like for example, who they're endorsing as president. Ang hindi ko lang gusto is yung cancel culture,
Yeah,
yung
I agree.
yung mga away na nangyayari as a result of that. Pero hindi mo rin maiwasan eh. That's
Mm.
why there are some people who choose to just keep things within themselves to
Mm-hmm.
avoid those types of conflict. And for me, okay din yon. Pero nabibilib din ako sa mga hindi takot to put their thoughts and opinions out there because they're brave enough to stand for something.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
absolutely, I think it's a great thing, and it's part of the world we live in today for athletes to speak up. And I don't think that you should put athletes in a box na maglaro lang kayo. No, they're human beings too. There's a reason why they're loved and followed by so many people. And if they can speak and inspire, why not?
Mm-hmm. I agree. And yeah, the athletes now, they're becoming more vocal. Pero I agree nga with what you said also na yung iba, they just back off and decide to put their political and social views on their own or with their family and friends na lang. Kasi nga, for sure, ikaw as a play-by-play anchor sa UAAP, you receive a ton of hate pag sabihin biased ka for the school, mga ganun. So, yun small pa lang yun. What more pag yung nga, political issues na, yun nga, yung mga they'll bash you because you're voting for this candidate or they bash you because you believe at this stance on this certain social issue. So that's why I also get both sides of the spectrum in terms of that are part of being an athlete.
Mm.
But for the next question, if you had the opportunity to have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would you bring?
Michael Jordan. I mean,
Yeah,
you see. Yeah,
yeah,
Michael Jordan
yeah.
is top of the list. He's my idol. I've seen him in person actually when I
Mhm.
covered the All Star game in Charlotte. I saw him.
Wow.
Grabe. Sabi ko when I saw Michael Jordan, I'm good. If I never cover another game, if I never go to another sports event, I'm fine. I saw
Mm.
MJ. He's my life idol. So yeah, he's number one. So I get 4 more. Dead or alive, ano? Grabe, Diego, on the spot to. Ang hirap.
Yeah, my guests nga, they get challenged pero they like the question.
John Cena. John Cena's number 2.
Uh,
Idol ko din yun eh, si John Cena. rise above hate
Mm-mm.
is something that I imbibe because yun nga, lalo na sa volleyball, I get a lot of hate. I used to get a lot of hate. That's why right now na I'm not covering the UAP anymore, medyo nakakahinga ako
Nag-mellow down.
because I know I don't have to deal with this anymore.
Mm.
I can just be a fan and stuff. So yeah, it's about rising above hate. Ako, I always say I'm oblivious to hate. As in, I don't mind it because I got a job to do, and if I pay attention to the hate, I won't be able to do my job the right way. So
Mm.
ayun, John Cena, rise above hate. That's his mantra. Mine as well.
Mm.
Number two. Three. Whew. Uh, man. Hmm. Ang hirap. Uh, I wish you told me this question like before.
That's the challenge.
para
Get that.
makaisip ako eh.
Yeah.
Uh, oh man. Mm, mm, mm. Who are my other inspirations in life? Uh, man. Grabe. Sobrang hirap. MJ, John Cena, uh, maybe Chris Evans, Captain America
Mm.
fan. He's a great actor. I think he's also the type of guy who stands up for what he believes in. So I'll put him on the list. Um, man, ang naisip ko Britney Spears but she's crazy right now. Sobrang
Let's
crush ko.
remove that from the equation.
Yeah, sobrang crush ko yun growing up it's like a
Mm.
childhood fantasy to me.
Mm.
But not now. So like I'm thinking of so many women right now that I'd like to have dinner with. Uh who am I crushing on at the moment? Who am I crushing on at the moment? Uh hmm. Probably Elizabeth Olsen.
Mm.
Yeah. Crush ko rin yun Scarlet Witch. Big Marvel fan as you can as
Yeah.
you're surmising right now.
Yeah.
Last one. Uh
You can put Britney Spears, so that's five. If you
Britney Spears during the time of when she was singing Oops, I Did It Again. That version. Sige, yun
yeah.
na yun para matapos na. Because I don't want to keep you waiting, man.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No worries. And the final question, it's also fun. Like you mentioned, yeah, that I just message people through social media and invite them onto the podcast. And yeah, they agree to be on the podcast even if they don't know who I am. That's great because that's how I only reach out to these athletes and these sports personalities. But for you, who would you suggest that I should invite here on the podcast to talk sports or to talk about their journey, anything in that realm?
Have you had Eliza?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Wait. Wag muna si Eliza. Ang dami niyang exposure Lai, alam mo yan, marami ka ng exposure. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool if you had Kiefer on. Have you had
Yeah,
Kiefer on?
not yet. I have a Danny before.
Yeah. It'd be cool if you had Keith or
Yeah.
30 on because, 30 is a trailblazer. See, Keith, in my opinion, is like one of the greatest athletes of all
Mm.
time, like especially like in the social media age. 'Di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Dami ring issues na pinagdaanan nun. So
Mm-hmm.
napakakulay ng buhay nun. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it'd be a great convo. So
Yeah.
yeah, you should include him in your list of DVDs, man.
Yeah, like the Mosey and Danny. I've
Yeah.
interviewed them, but not yet Kiefer and 30. Hopefully
Yeah,
after the D League. And
get the whole family. Ako, I wrote the first profile article of Kiefer. I wrote it. First profile
Mhm.
article of 30. I wrote it. Danny Ren. I wrote it. So like if
Wow.
you, I've worked with Mosey. First person I worked with when I covered volleyball was Mosey. So and
Mm.
then si Tito Bong. I've had him on a sports show before.
Mm-mm.
So like yeah,
Lahat na, yeah.
if you can complete the whole Ravenna family, di ba? Why
That would be great.
not?
One of the rare times that would happen. But yeah, thank you so much again, Anton, for joining me here and previewing the upcoming
No,
PVL
my pleasure,
conference.
man.
And for sure, a lot of fans are waiting for it. It's gonna be the second conference after
Mm,
the peak of the pandemic. So the fans are waiting for it. Magkaka-UAAP na rin volleyball soon. Tapos SEA Games pa yata. Kaya yata rin they wanna wrap it up early. Siguro baka
mm.
gusto mag-training for SEA Games and a lot of other international tournaments. So volleyball's in full swing now in the Philippines, and I hope the fans got more excited after listening to this. And do you have any final message or final words?
Nah, I just want to say thank you. I mean, I had such a great convo with you, man. Naubos ko yung tikoy ko. In case you guys were
Yeah,
wondering, ano ba kinakain itong si Anton? I was eating tikoy kasi my best
yeah,
friend sent some over. Tapos nakita ko sa fridge. Eh, alam kong matagal yung magiging usapan natin. So, I wanted it to be a chill convo. I learned it actually from Kiana D. Kasi when we guested her, kumakain siya. Tapos sabi ko, okay pala kung chill lang yung usapan. Mas masarap yung kwentuhan. Oh,
yeah. It's back. Sorry. Yeah,
yeah, chill lang eh. Pag,
yeah.
you're just yourself. It's not the pressure of like, you're in the studio and like, you have this
That's what I
time
like
limit. Di ba?
about the
Di ba?
podcast. It's chill
Yeah,
lang. Yeah.
yeah, you can just speak your mind, relax, no time pressure, time limit.
Mm-hmm.
So, ayun, to anybody who wants to get their thoughts out or create something that is your own, take it from Diego. You don't have to be in the industry. You can start it even even as a student if you have the passion for it, the technology. Uh, we have it today to be able to create something that's your own. So, if I can leave a message to everybody who watches the DVD show, it's that. It's want if you're passionate about something, create something that is your own to hopefully inspire whoever's out there. Because for
Yeah.
sure there will be somebody that you'll inspire out there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anton, for the kind words. And before you go, is it okay if we take a picture?
Yeah, sure, man.
Okay.
Wait.
I'll take it from here. One, two, three. Okay. Thank you so much, Anton, for joining me here and stay safe.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Okay.